Hey everybody, welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger, and today I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Leemarie Jones. How's it going, Lee?
It's going good. Fighting those allergies right now like crazy in Kansas City. I don't know if anybody
A
else
little
does.
gloomy.
Do you have allergies?
No, I don't, but it's a little gloomy outside. It's
It's crazy out. Yeah. I was almost like thinking right before we logged on, I was like, I hope I don't sound out of breath because I learned this hack that if your nose is stuffed up, you can hold your breath for as long as possible and it clears up your nose.
oh, okay.
Fun fact.
Interesting. The things you learn.
Things you
Yeah,
learn.
I'm excited. I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona tomorrow to celebrate a couple of my friends' 40th birthdays, and it's going to be 80 degrees and it's so cold and dreary here. It's just getting to that point of fall where it's like you have to start wearing sweaters and long pants and
I pulled out my sweatpants today. I usually wait till it's freezing, but I threw sweatpants on top of my shorts to go to the gym today.
yes. All right. Well, we're going to be talking about this episode is Unhinged. So we're going to give just like little examples of different kind of like prep things, all the prep things, just some mishaps, I guess you would say, or like weird stories, random things that have happened to our clients, random things that have happened to us individually. So we'll kind of like go through the categories. So the first topic is the tan. And I'm going to start with a personal story because this happened like way back in the day. This was like when I used to do Jan Tana, which I don't even know if that company exists anymore, but I started by painting myself or when I first started competing. And I was at the time training with I don't know if I should say the name, but I guess I will because they're really famous for their waist trainers and they have really good waist trainers. So Bombshell.
Um,
But they were like really like wear that thing all the time. And so I didn't realize that you could get calluses from a waist trainer. And it kind of, they're not like obvious to the eye, but when you put tan on, I woke up on show day and my stomach had just looked like a leopard. Like I looked like I had spots all over my core and my abdomen. And I showed the professional tanning company that was there at the show. Luckily, I'd gotten there early. It was in Indianapolis, and she's like, "Oh, you're on Bombshell." She's like, "That's from your waist trainer." And she's like, "Your certain parts of your skin are like so dry that and callous that they're pulling in the tan really dark." And that's where I was getting like the leopard spots. So she's like, luckily at this venue, there was a shower. She's like, literally rinse off your tan, just wash it off. And she took care of me. She gave me like a beautiful tan. That was my first professional tan I'd ever done. And it was very unconventional because I didn't get a base coat or anything like that. Like she literally just had me wash off. She put some like barrier cream in the spots that were dry and then just put that top coat on me. And I had a really nice tan. I ended up getting second in my class and it looked really dark and really good. And ever since then, like until recently, I started doing like DIY myself. But I still feel like, yeah, that was very that was like traumatic, but I was so grateful for Marilyn from Liquid Sunrays. Shout out to her. Like she really helped me out. I think she's still around today as the owner, but yeah, that was my story.
okay. Follow up. I need to follow up on this because I think one of the really good reasons that we're doing an episode like this is because you see stuff on podcasts, YouTube, and Instagram, and it seems like everybody just shows like the fun, cool, smooth parts of prep. And like this is just to show like our embarrassing things that we've done because they happen and what we did to like fix them or whatever. But do you wear your waist trainer now on top of a tank to prevent that? Or
So, yeah, so what I do is, if I'm doing cardio, I'll just have a t-shirt on and then I'll put my waist trainer over it.
Mhm.
And then, or I will cut a tank top,
Mhm.
like a tube, like make it like a tube top, like an old tank top, and just put that underneath it and then put it on. But I never put it on my bare skin anymore. This is really gross. Maybe this is the unhinged of waist trainers.
Mhm.
I feel embarrassed and grossed out by saying this, but and I wash them, but think about it. It's sweaty, it's dark, it creates like bacteria and germs and stuff like that. And I got ringworm, which was really gross.
Wow.
And that was disgusting. I mean, I kind of gave up waist trainers for a while after I got that. I obviously threw those out, and now I, wash everything in hot water after one wear, but definitely that was on my bare skin at that time. And so I always keep it like some sort of barrier so that the waist trainer itself is not on
Mhm.
my skin directly. So,
I don't know if it was just me not being able to stand the restriction in the gym, but whenever I wore a waist trainer, it was always outside of the gym, and I would always take it off and just wear my weight belt inside the gym and for cardio and stuff. But like
uh-huh.
I would wear it for like 6, 8 hours, like in the day. I think the only thing that happened to me with a waist trainer is one time I did like I wore it so tight that it sort of I gave me like pinch marks in the middle of my stomach, and that like it looked like kind of like when you have like a little scratch or scrape or something, there was like a tiny mark in your tan and like not like big enough to have an issue. However, I do have a pretty good couple of tan stories. So
Yeah, but it bites back. And even if you wear a waist trainer kind of properly and do
mm,
that whole thing where you wash it frequently and do all that, I would still suggest a couple of days before the show or before you get your tan to not wear it. Just because I feel like the skin kind of takes like weird shapes and stuff like that. You just want your skin to be able to rest and have everything exfoliated, no residue, um, all those things. So that would be my advice is to
yeah,
kind of
that's
lay off of it maybe like
good.
a couple days before the show or your tan.
That's a crazy story. Okay, so my story also had to do with an amazing person from Liquid Sunrays. I don't know about Liquid Sunrays and their hiring procedures, but actually anybody that tans at shows, they're like the hidden gems of the show. Like they save so many moments and mess ups and panics backstage. It's amazing. But I did a show one time and I like this story for another reason too. I actually had my period on this show, and that is just to show you that you do not need to lose your period. Not everyone does. And so I actually was having my period on the show, and a fun fact about certain tan companies is if you're on your period, the tan will turn green because of something hormonal. I'm sure you can explain
Yeah,
more, but it
changes.
happened to me. And I wouldn't have even noticed, but I went and I got my first coat. And then that night we were posing, and you were like, your tan is turning green on your stomach. We need to get you ASAP to the place. So I go to the tanning place, and the lady looks me over. She calls this other lady. She looks me over. She's like, "Oh no, did you not like do this certain thing with this certain soap?" And I was like, "No, I've never done that before in my life." And she was like, "Oh yeah, well you need to do that." And then we left, and you said no, it was because you're on your period. And so she said, go home, sleep. I don't know. She put something on it. It was like a color corrector
Mm-hmm.
on my tan. And then she was like,
Clean
sleep
out, I think
in
it's
the
called.
morning, you might have to shower and we'll do it again. And I was just praying I wouldn't have to shower because, guys, you know, if you've ever competed before, anything extra seems almost impossible. It seems like a mountain that you cannot climb because you're so depleted, you're so nervous, anyways, you're exhausted. So I'm like praying I don't have to shower and get retanned in the morning. And I get up, you look me over, we go down there. She actually, this was my girl Shannon, also with Liquid Sunrays. So I have stayed friends with her ever since the show, and she is awesome. And she always comes through for me at shows, not only for me, but for my athletes too. It's great. And Shannon, she was like, come at 6 a.m. I'll be there early. Tanning doesn't even start till 6:30, but you come early. And so I get up, I go there, and the tan is fine, thankfully. It like the color correction worked. So that was great. And that was the only show that I ever had my period on. And so that thankfully, but the tan turning green is not a myth. So so definitely watch that. And I think there's like a Dove soap you're supposed to use or something like that. That's what they told me to use this
Non-scented.
that has to
Yeah.
do with your skin and the hormones and stuff. But um my other story was that I was at the Ben Weeder, and this was, I believe it was the last time I was there. The time I got fifth place, I want to say. So my best placing there ever. But we were getting in line to go on stage. And I grabbed a drink of water, like just a tiny sip, because my mouth was dry. Someone walked by and bumped me, and it splashed all over. And you were standing there too, because you were checking us, and your face, like shock. And you were like, run. And I turned around and I ran back to, I think it was Pro Tan there. I ran back and I was like, and she was like, oh my gosh. And she like grabs this other person and they're like sponging me and blending me. And like, in like 10 seconds, they had me fixed and I went tearing out and literally like walked up on stage.
Yeah, it's very forgivable, especially protein, the
Mhm.
top coat. It's very forgivable. It's almost like you can do like an eraser. So, I don't want to say you can't screw it up with protein, but it's very easy to fix if you get, a P mark or like splash marks or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, that reminds me too of just one of my clients kind of freaked out because her boyfriend had spilled some water like right on her chest. And it's one of those things that these things happen, but it's great that if you, don't panic, don't get a cortisol dump, like everything's fixable, take a deep breath and yeah, rely on the pros to make sure that you look your best on stage day. So, all right, I'm going to talk about makeup. And I might have brought this up. This was one that happened in May to my client. She got a makeup time that was ridiculous. It was 3:30 in the morning, but it wasn't at the host hotel. So she had to drive downtown Pittsburgh and try to find parking. Well, people were still up at 3 a.m., like partying from the night before, and there was no parking, and she did not anticipate that. Plus, the hotel was locked and there were no security guards. The parking garage was locked because it was 3 a.m. in the morning. And she was driving around trying to find somewhere to park. Finally found it, like had to walk so far to get into the hotel, was like banging on the door. Somebody finally let her in. Um, by the time she got there, there was only 15 minutes left. And she's like, I can't do anything but your eyes. Like basically when your time's up, I'm done and that's it. She's like, so I think your eyes probably are the thing that you need the most. So she's like, I'll do your eyes, then you're gonna be in charge of like the rest of your face.
Did
So
you let her like use the supplies at least?
no, she didn't give her supplies or anything. She's like, you were so late. I can't have you run over because you're gonna back me up for the rest of the day. She's like, I literally have people. So she's like, I'll give you whatever I can get done in this 15 minutes. And so poor thing, like she had never done a pro qualifier or a national show. And she probably knows who, I mean, she probably knows that I'm talking about her. So I don't think she'll mind. Sky, she's a sweetheart. She just is like such a positive attitude and she just totally like pivoted from that. And luckily she had brought makeup. So I just think, you always want to like have backups just in case. I always bring like my NC 45 MAC just in case, like my foundation, so it kind of matches because there's been times where it's, like either they don't fill in my eyebrows enough and, maybe I don't have time to go back to them or, like a lip color or blush, like just bring stuff just in case. You never know what could go awry. So, yeah, it's just like bringing a backup suit or something, like have a backup plan when it comes to makeup. So,
I had I think it was a 3:45 a.m. appointment one time at the Ben Weeder. Thankfully, it was at the same hotel.
yeah.
But I went down to that floor at like on time and I
Mhm.
got there and they were like super confused and they were like checking their books and everything and they're like, I don't have you at this time. I have this person at this time. And then they had like booked me at a different time. And so she's like, well, if you just want to wait, I'll do you after her. I sat down in a chair and literally fell asleep. And she did my makeup at like 5 a.m. I was so mad. I was like, I could have slept another hour.
Oh,
But I've never, oh, but I did have a makeup experience that is quite hilarious. And I don't know the company or the person, so I feel like this is a safe move, but I might post a picture of it. It was so bad. Like it's fun. Everyone will laugh when they see this picture. And I'm like kind of a nice person and I have a hard time with like confrontation. And so, and plus this is the first time I've ever had a makeup job that was like comically bad.
It
So
was
she
really
shows
bad.
me the mirror after she's done, and like honestly, it it looked so it was like somebody on purpose made me look bad. She had
Yeah,
like this weird like white
totally.
shimmer all around my
I remember
eyes,
exactly.
and you know,
I remember I was
there
freaking
was this
out when you sent me.
bright
I
like
wanted to
orange.
calmly
Yeah, so there was this
coach.
bright like orange red lipstick, but she did this thing on my lips where like she like not over she like under like she made my lips thinner than they are and then put this
Mhm.
like orangey red lipstick on. And I was just like, "Oh, thanks." And you were like had told me beforehand, "Send me a picture of your makeup." And so I sent a picture and
So
you were
funny.
like, "What?" And I went and met you and you just looked at me and you're like, no, you need to get we need to get this fixed. And I was like too like I couldn't do it, but you were like, I'll go with you. And you
Yeah,
like marched me back down to the makeup stand. You were like, this is not okay. We need this fixed. And you pulled up pictures on your phone. You're like, can you make it like this? And
I try to say it politely. You
yeah,
gotta,
oh yeah, you were really good
that's
at
more
it.
pleasant,
I was
honey,
just
for
like,
sure.
thankfully, that lady I think was busy, and so another girl came over that I think was like the head of everything, and she was way better. She wiped off all the stuff. She doubled up my eyelashes. She put like a nude, like really pretty pink lip color on. Like the difference from before and after is insane. And I will post a picture, you guys, because you won't be able to believe it. But ever since then, I do the same thing with my athletes, and I'm always like, send me a picture before you leave. One time, my last show, it was a Kansas City show, I had an athlete. She sent me a picture, but she had already left the makeup. And it was like the same, it wasn't like a bad makeup job. It just looked like normal makeup. And I was like, oh, no, you need more of this, more of this, more of this, more of this. I'm like, more eyebrows, more everything. And she was like, I already left. And I was like, I'm bringing my makeup. And I just like came in and like, because you guys need to, like, if you're on stage, you need makeup that is over dramatic. You need those Halloween eyelashes. Like, you need the huge eyebrows and it's going to look normal on stage. But that's like a good thing. Like, texture coach pictures before you leave the
Yeah.
makeup area.
Yeah. Which is why, like, for team shows, like for our November show, I book my own makeup artist for my athletes, and I do the same thing with hair. If it's local here and I can provide those services for my athletes, one thing is like way cheaper. I can't believe what makeup costs right now. This is a totally another tangent, but I was looking up just like NPC Midwest, their hair and makeup. It's like 300 and something dollars, but then they charge you for every weft of extension.
Mm.
And when you added it up, it was like $400, which
That's like
is
what I pay
crazy town.
at
That's
nationals
more than I
for,
pay at
yeah.
nationals. And that's
Some
just a
people
regional
that do
show.
like Olympians.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, yeah, that's
Mm-mm.
a side note. But yeah, I think I could tell you probably another million more stories of my clients, and like the same thing kind of with hair too, just like if their hair got messed up and stuff like that. Like, advocate for yourself, but like be proactive in bringing a picture. Have your coach look at that look. Make sure, especially if you're a first time competitor and you don't understand like the glamour and like what stage makeup should actually look like, it is totally different than like a regular everyday look. So, get a picture, because a picture can really help the situation a lot. Because then if they follow along, there's not really like a chance for them to be like,
Mhm.
okay, most people can follow like a draft or a template. And then same thing with the hair, just, like have a strategy, because I remember one of my clients, so I didn't realize like how she we probably, like, in hindsight, this was when I first started coaching. I made this mistake. So I just want to share this with, if there's any coaches out there, but this also applies to an athlete. So
Mhm.
she had very thin hair, like super, super thin. And she did clip in extensions, and it looked like an absolute hot mess. Like you could see the clips be in between her hair and everything. And night and day difference, her doing an $18 wig on Amazon versus clip-in extensions with thin hair, she looked 10 times better at the next show. And it was like, okay, lesson learned. Like you could really see the difference. Like it looked a little rough. So, pop on a wig if you have thin hair. That's the best thing. That's the best advice I can give you. You don't have to wake up early to get it styled. Like you can literally put it on a wig hanger, pop it on your head. It's so easy. You can have it styled before and trimmed and all of that. So you don't have to wake up earlier. Then, it takes out that element, which is so nice. So that would be
Love
my
that.
biggest hair story. I think that was like the biggest unhinged.
Okay, I have a fun fact about my hair. One time, Coach Brittany, one of our old coaches, cut my hair with a sewing scissors in the bathroom at Ben Weeder because
Yes.
it was too
No,
long.
it was at Oklahoma. It was in
Was that
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she lived in Oklahoma and I couldn't be there for your show.
Yeah, that's
So she
right.
was like standing in for me.
Fun. So fun.
Yeah. Was it because it was hitting your top of your butt, I think,
Yeah, it
in
needed
your
to
back?
be shorter and like a little more like V tapered to like show off more.
Yeah. So, fun fact too, and just pro tip, make sure you're standing in your back pose with your head up because when you put your head up, that makes your hair about 2 inches longer and then it touches the top of your butt. So, even if you were to put in your extensions, get it all trimmed out, get it tapered so that your shoulders are displayed and all those good things, if you arch your back and look up in your back pose, it's going to make your hair like 1 to 2 inches longer. So, I always have people, if they're from here, I send them to my friend Marlene because she knows to do that. She has them at the very end stand up, hit their back pose, and then she
Yep.
does the trimming and the blending. So that's a pro tip there. Okay, let's do an unhinged. Let's do a suit. Do you have any unhinged suit or client like stories about mishaps or
I don't have any mishaps. Praise. I don't. I
I
can't.
feel like a couple of your clients, I fit them in like to a new or a different suit because their body changed like the day before a show. So
Yeah.
be flexible. I think, especially
Uh-huh.
like if you're renting or you're
Uh-huh.
not getting a custom made suit to like make sure that your body changes a lot. So I always tell people, like people want to get their rentals like so early.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna fit you till 2 weeks out because then they feel like, oh, this doesn't fit me right now. And I'm like, okay, your body will change and then I will get it to fit you when you're closer and you're leaner. But yeah, one of my worst things for a suit was, and I talked about this on the podcast before, but it was mortifying when my stupid cheap connector broke. That was absolutely terrible. I'm so glad it didn't happen on stage. We luckily had suit inspections backstage in Indiana, like back in the day when they were like the cheap. I think I had a water baby suit. It was like off the rack, one size fits all. It was bad.
Have you
um,
ever been at a show where something happened on stage?
like a
Like
wardrobe
a slip or yeah,
malfunction.
like a broken glass or anything?
I've not seen that. I've seen earrings
Maybe.
fall off quite a bit. So practice in your jewelry. That's a good tip too, because that's something unhinged that I've seen. Like people get really flustered when that happens,
Yeah.
when like their earring comes off, especially like back in the day there a lot of people wore hoops, not many people wear them now, but yeah, like when they would like move their hair or pose, especially in the categories like figure where you actually do have to move your hair, just be very careful. I would practice like you're going to play, practice with your jewelry on so that you don't have any like weird things. I mean, sometimes the jewelry is so long that like hits your shoulders and stuff like that and it can feel really weird, so just practice with that.
Yeah.
Anything else on the suits? No
No,
other stories?
thankfully.
Okay, let's go. Let's move on to travel. So, like traveling for a show, have you heard of any clients like having any trouble like with TSA or like flights delayed or canceled or
I haven't had anything that wasn't like that was major with that, thankfully.
okay.
but I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been doing this longer than I have.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've told this story too, but when I went to Spain and my bags didn't make it, they got stuck in
Mhm.
New York.
Yep.
And then like 2 days later, all of my luggage came right before I left for Alicante from Madrid. So it was like all my chicken and all my clothes. Like I
Oh my gosh.
literally only had
Did
my
you though?
suit. What's that?
Did you eat it? Like,
Did
was
I
it
eat the
good?
chicken? Oh no. It was
Oh,
crazy though. It was still frozen. But
oh,
we had gotten an apartment with like a kitchen. So
okay.
immediately went out, got food, cooked it. Um, but yeah, the whole like clothing situation, even like I mean, in my carry-on bag, I just keep all the stuff I have to have that I can't lose, that I can't replace. So like my heels, my jewelry, my suit, all of that stuff was in there, but it's like you can't really wear that for a couple of days, like you know. So I had to get like underwear, everything.
Oh my
It was nuts.
gosh.
Um, but yeah, okay. So anything travel, you said no. And then
No.
nutrition. Let's go into nutrition. What are some unhinged?
The only thing I can think of at the moment is one time I'm sure there were more times like this, but there's just so many tiny little specific particular details that you have to like communicate with your coach. And a lot of the times as a coach, you give someone a plan and you don't like realize that they're doing other things. And then it like pops up that they've been doing these other things. And I remember I was like middle of a peak week and you were like water loading me. Like we were doing like 250 ounces of water a day. Um, and then and I like halfway through the week mentioned that I was putting lemon in all my water. And for some reason, you like freaked out because apparently lemon like dehydrates
This is
it.
a diuretic.
Oh,
It
okay.
makes you pee it out.
So you're
Yeah.
like, that's totally going against all of this like proactive hydration we're doing. You can't use lemon anymore. And I was like so bummed because I literally was like putting lemon juice in all of my water so that I could drink it all. That's literally the only thing I can.
Which not to mention it does add carbs, like and calories.
Lemon?
Yeah. It's that's
Wow.
true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, trace amounts, but yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But no, that's funny. Yeah, because I don't even water load. I don't even know when that would have been. That had to have been years ago.
I
Like when
think
you
we were just
first
doing
started.
like 200 ounces a day at least for
Hmm.
some reason. And then I don't know, maybe it was back when we were using symmetry. That was like way back in the day.
Yeah. Those days are gone.
Gone.
We don't get water. We don't water
Nope.
load. But that's the good thing about science is like once you see experience and research meet each other, and I feel like as a coach, you if you are not evolving, you are not staying on top of the sport of bodybuilding because you have to be willing to learn and grow and change your ideas because science and research is always changing and there's lots of different methods to get to the same place, but there's definitely more superior. And as you get experience with working with hundreds of thousands of athletes, like you realize like some of these things that are old school bodybuilding lore are not necessarily the greatest thing for the athlete's health or for the way that they look on stage.
Mhm.
Um, Again, I digress. But okay, so my nutrition thing is so there's been so many things. Like I had a client that this was back in the day again, like when I first started coaching, like obviously more than 10 years ago at least, but I put orange roughy on their plan and that's a
Mhm.
whitefish.
Uh-huh.
Well, they were eating oranges. They thought oranges roughly 3 ounces. They misread it. They were having all kinds of blood sugar issues and they were like eating zero protein and they were eating oranges instead of
That's pretty high
white
sugar
fish.
too.
Well,
Wow.
like think about their blood sugar was like
Oh
so
my gosh.
regulated. Yeah, that was crazy. So that was definitely like a miscommunication one. And then for myself personally, I had a coach that they had put like they gave me a meal plan. This was when I was following a meal plan, so I wasn't doing macros. And they had a no cow cookie on my plan like every day. And then my weight just like my progress was like fluctuating, and I was like checking every box and I'm thinking like, what's going on? And then I like read the package and I see it's like 65 grams. I'm gonna be totally off. It probably wasn't that. Like that's what the package said the cookie weighed.
Oh, sure.
Well, then I put it on my scale and it was like 100 something or whatever. And then I'd put another one and it was like 50 grams, you know. So it was like off by a lot because it was like it had chips in it. Like I don't know if they were necessarily made of chocolate, but like it was a cookie, right? And it had like those chunks in it. And so they all weighed differently. And I was just, you know, I'm sure she was going off of like the package macros, which were could be wildly variable. Like, so some days I was under eating, some days I was overeating because I was eating these cookies consistently. So I think on that one, like, moral of the story is if you are going to do packaged food, I had a similar situation with like pita bread and like I had this almond bread that was really dense in certain parts and like so you can't just put like a slice, you know, especially if it's like a variant. So just make sure you weigh everything. That's my pro tip on that one. And then I thought this was really cute when I first was competing with Bombshell. Courtney King was on the team and she was one of like the instructors or whatever. And I felt so normal when I saw her do this because, and I may have told this story before on the podcast, I'm not sure, but like, um, she was eating in the parking lot and walking in and she dropped sweet potatoes and then she picked them up and ate them and she's like, don't judge me, don't judge me. And I'm like, no judgment. I'm like, I promise you, I would probably be like, oh my gosh, I lost this like sweet potato um, that I would want to eat it too, probably.
Or I need
Yeah,
that
but
extra
I just thought
bite.
it was cute. Any other nutrition stories that you have?
To think of.
Unhinged.
I've got a pretty good. Is Jim
I
our
think our last one's gym, so I don't really have a good unhinged, but I do have some like weird happenings that happen at the gym, so maybe that is unhinged. But what's your weird
Okay,
story?
so I have a pretty unhinged gym story. This happened at my apartment gym, but my apartment gym before I moved to my house, it was a pretty nice sized gym. Like definitely not like a commercial gym, but like pretty good. There was like a cardio section, there were all the cable machines, there's a Smith machine, there's a squat rack, bench, all the dumbbells, like battle ropes, a functional station. Like it's a pretty big gym. And so I'm training in there. I'm working out with my friend Sashan and like I I'm a talker if we get into the gym. Like I'm like talking between sets, we're making jokes, whatever. We're talking about form and all this stuff and like encouraging each other in our lifts and stuff. And there's this one girl on the opposite end of the gym on the treadmill with earbuds in, just walking on the treadmill. And we're literally on the opposite side lifting weights. She starts walking, and I see it out of the corner of my eye that she's like walking towards us, and like I'm immediately weirded out for one. But then like part of me is like maybe she just wants to ask like, you know, for some advice or whatever. She like walks up to us and just stands there until we like both stop working and look over her. And she's like, literally, this is her. She's like, I don't want to ruin your vibes or anything, but you guys are like yelling, and I have noise canceling earbuds in, and I can't even hear my music. Literally, that's how she was talking. And we both just stared at her like, what are you talking about? And we just stared at her, and Sasha goes, okay. She's like, so I need to hear you guys say that you're gonna be quieter. And we're like, what? And Sasha goes, okay. And literally she looks over at me and she goes, obviously you're leading this little thing, so I'm gonna need to hear you say it. And at that time,
Whoa.
I'm like, oh, I like, what is up with this girl? And I was like, sure. I just turned and I kept working out. Literally, we were so shocked. We like worked out in silence the rest of the day. And when she or the rest of the workout, when Sasha left, I was like, I am so sorry. I have no idea what was up with her. First of all, that's just like the gym. And you can't like people talk, people slam weights. There was a guy deadlifting next to us that was dropping the weights, and they were like the metal plate, like it was loud, and she
Yeah,
didn't tell him to do anything. So
that's funny.
I was telling my friend that this morning when we were working out, and she mentioned that there was this one time at the gym. I don't know if this was her or if she saw this on someone's Instagram story, but they were running on one of those self-propelled treadmills, and someone walked up to them and was like, "I'm sorry, this is just too loud. You're ruining my workout. Could you stop?"
Oh, jeez. What about my workout?
Hey, first of all, if you're gonna go to a gym, just let people be loud. It's gonna be loud, and noise canceling headphones are a thing. It's fine.
Yes.
Act
Yes,
like
for sure.
real people, have like real manners in the gym
Yes.
goes a long way. But if you do see somebody working out and you want to ask them a question, I love when people come up and ask me questions in the gym. Like, bring it on.
So there's a bunch of bodybuilders, obviously, at my gym at Beastified,
Uh-huh.
and there are a lot of them are in prep, getting ready for the show in Kansas City, November 15th. And this one trainer, he's so smart. He has these headphones that are really big, and he has do not disturb signs on them.
Oh, nice.
Because as a trainer, I have to say that, like, I mean, I'm like very cordial and very polite, but like like when you're getting your own workout and you get
Oh yeah.
interrupted, it makes it very difficult for you yourself to like focus on your goals. And like when people are talking to you, it's like, okay, like you want to be polite because you're a trainer there at that gym. But I'm like, okay, I guess that's one way to do it. And then you don't have to like be like rude to somebody. They can just read your sign on your earbuds or on your headphones.
Like, just be aware, like if someone's in the middle of a set, that is a do not disturb sign.
Yeah.
Also safety.
Yeah.
Because if they're lifting as heavy as they should be lifting, if they're a serious lifter, they don't need to be like disturbed in the middle of the set. It takes all your concentration to lift those heavy weights.
Yes, yes. So anyway, with that, well, that kind of ends our stories of our unhinged episode. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you have any crazy stories, please comment below. If you're watching on YouTube, share your crazy stories with us. If we get enough, I think it'd be worth doing like an unhinged episode of our listeners if we can get that. So if you're listening on your favorite, streaming platform, then just go ahead and DM us on Instagram at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini and go ahead and give us a follow. We would sure appreciate it if you tagged us on your story and let us know what you thought of the episode. And if you would like to apply for coaching with either of us, you can go to glamgirlbikini.com and hit the get started button. Thanks for listening, guys.